here at the Action Martial Arts Hall of Honors. We're here, I mean, we have legends, we have leaders, we have fitness pros, and let me tell you something, we have doctors. And we have a doctor right here, Dr. Patino. It's amazing. We had you at the event yesterday. You know, as I said before, your vascularity by the second keeps coming in. You know, you have a method to your madness. You have a system in place. Let's talk about it.
Yes, I do. It's called the glycemic index. And basically what it is, it's taking the physiology of the human body and putting it to use on your behalf. And here's how it works. All carbohydrates are not created equally. In the past, we used to classify them as complex and simple.
Simple, yeah.
We threw that nomenclature out because it had no scientific meaning. Because we found out that some of those complex carbs that we thought were complex were actually high glycemic. So here's what we did. We came up with an index that's scientifically derived, and so it assigns a number to each carbohydrate. And that number signifies something because what it tells you is how much insulin is secreted by that particular carbohydrate when you eat it.
Right.
And that's important because it is the insulin that causes all the issues with weight gain. And here's why. When you eat high glycemic carbs and you elevate your insulin levels, what happens is it does several things. It signals the body to store fat, and insulin also prevents your body from using fat as a fuel source. Okay. So it gets you in trouble. But on the other hand, if you eat low glycemic carbs and you keep your insulin levels low, what happens then is that your body's allowed to use fat as a fuel source. So you're burning off fat, you're leaning out, but you're still preserving your lean muscle.
Right.
And this is why it works so well. In addition to that, that's going to determine how you look in the mirror. We all want to look good. But, you know, I always say you have to look good and be good. The other thing that keeping insulin levels low does is it prevents inflammation. And we know that inflammation is the root of a lot of evil nowadays. Yeah. We know that it is behind a lot of the cancers, the chronic diseases. And so even in cardiovascular disease, we know that it initiates atherosclerosis, plaque formation, and plaque rupture. Right. So we want to eliminate the inflammation. And in addition to that, also, high insulin levels will also overstimulate insulin receptors, which causes their resistance and downregulation, which leads to type 2 diabetes. So by eating low glycemic, not only are you going to look good because you're going to lean out and burn body fat, but you're going to be good because you're going to prevent inflammation and all the consequences of that.
But for years, as you said, there's been a great misconception. In the beginning, the advent of bodybuilding, you know, even in the early 70s, early 80s, even early 90s, you had the simple and complex carbohydrates. You had your brown rice, you had your this, your that, and bodybuilders would actually go and utilize this. But then it actually trickled down to people that just started trying to eat healthy, and they would go buy this index. But what you're saying, that that is thrown out the window. What you have, what you've developed, is showing people more reality, and they can customize their intake, to align with their body, so that they can have a healthy lifestyle. Kind of hopefully eliminate some of the potential diseases that can come through. Because you eat well, what you put in your body is what comes out. So all these things culminate in the Patino method.
That's correct. See, as a medical doctor, you have to be careful because anytime you start selling product, and many do, there's fad diets out there and all kinds of fad diets, and this is what confuses the population. And sometimes there's physicians behind these things, and what ends up happening is you start to lose your credibility when you start selling kits and you start selling things that only work temporarily.
Right.
And so rather than do that, let's educate the public so that they can make their own decisions based on their knowledge, based on science.
Right.
And then they can go out, and when they food shop or they go to a restaurant, they can make good decisions about what is healthy and what is not healthy.
And knowledge is key.
Absolutely.
If you understand it, then you can make better decisions as you're sitting down to eat, as opposed to having that meal, maybe you tweak it a little bit, change something in it, and then it becomes a better product to go inside your body.
Absolutely. And that's what I've attempted to do in the book that I wrote, so that people can understand the science behind it.
This is the book, right?
This is the book right here.
Let's take a look at it.
The Age of Globesity, Entering the Perfect Storm.
Obesity. I like it.
And there you go.
And let me tell you something. For all the viewers out there, look at him. He's a product. He's not talking. He's doing. Okay, he practices what he preaches. And yesterday I'm going to rub on him right now. I'm trying to get into the shape that you're in because, look, seriously. Give them a bicep shot. Give them something because it's not you know what it is? Is that it's beyond the vascularity. You see how thin your skin is, and it shows your muscularity and basically how your body can be. The leaner you are, I mean, you don't have to be Mr. Olympia, you don't have to be Arnold, but you can be in shape and be the best that you can be. And you'll live a healthier lifestyle, do more, be more active. And you know what? And the way I look at it, if you're more active, you're having a better time with your wife, having a better time with your family, your kids, you're there for them.
Very good.
You can kind of move around and do stuff.
And you brought up a good point, being active, because the other piece of the puzzle is that you have to exercise, or you have to do something. And people need to understand that you need to have nutrition and exercise. And what I tell them is this. When you look in the mirror and what you see is about 60% what you eat and 40% what you do in the gym or when you train.
Right.
So they're both important, but nutrition is ultimately what's going to make you healthy or not healthy in the end. But you need to combine them both.
And that's what you're doing. Why don't you let our viewers know, or the viewers out there, how they can find out more about you, what you're doing, because I know a lot of people know me. I know a lot of people in bodybuilding, fitness, things of that nature. But when it comes to something like this, the proof is in the pudding. Okay, look at him. He doesn't eat pudding, but look at him. You know, and you're showing it, because you're not talking, you're showing, you're leading by example. So let them know how they can find out more about your plan.
You can't lead where you haven't been. Right. Here's the deal. If you go to patinodiet.com, there are tutorials on there that you can learn just about everything that I've just talked about. You can also order the book if you want to really read in depth. Now, in the book, there's also recipes that I obtained from very high-end chefs in the Detroit area, so that once you understand how to eat, you can sort of transform that to what you put on the table. And these are very, very good recipes. People love them. I actually have some more that I'm probably going to put out again, because they've had such a good response. So patinodiet.com is where you want to go.
Well, check it out, patinodiet.com. This guy knows what he's talking about. And you know what? I'm going to look further into this, because I want to read this book, because I think everyone should educate themselves on their body and what they put into it and what's going to come out. Because I'm a big advocate of family. And if you are healthy, you're going to have a more adventurous life. You're going to have a more active family. Your kids are going to be active. They're not going to just sit and become obese in front of a computer. They're going to go out there, play in the trees, do stuff, and go out there and want to have that active lifestyle. So it's a good way to pay it forward in your personal circle of life.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patino, and we'll be doing some more stuff. We're going to have some stuff on Mega on the Patino diet method, the whole 9 yards, because I think it's that important for you guys to know about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure.